Hello everyone, this is iPhoneeditor here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my Darkworld deck. This is my particular build, but it is very similar to others. I just play it maybe slightly different from the way other people have played it before. So yeah, if you're thinking about building this deck, or a deck like it, I also suggest looking at other videos and figuring out a playstyle that works for you, and do whatever the heck you want with it, because it's your deck. And without further ado, I'll get started. Alright, so let's start off with monsters first. I'm going to go in order: monsters, spells, traps. Alright, so this is staple in almost every Darkworld deck. You're expected to run 3 Graphas. And almost everything that I say you run 3 of, you do run 3 of, like, consistently. Like, you will not see a version of a Darkworld deck that doesn't usually run 3 of these. If you're not, you're going to slow down your deck a lot. So 3 Grapha, 3 Snoww, and 3 Broww. Broww is your draw engine, Snoww is your search engine, really broken search engine. Grapha is your beater, and he has some really awesome effects. Destroys things when he's discarded. Pretty awesome. So there's your 3 Broww. 1 Beiige. Running multiple is good in some cases, but otherwise it's inconsistent. Running 1 helps with consistency, and you normally don't even need multiples, because if you do need Beiige at a certain time, you can always search it with Snoww. So he's great. He is really good for bouncing out Graphas. Normal summon him, bounce a Grapha, discard him multiple times by whatever means necessary, and bounce the other Graphas because he will spec himself when he's discarded. Trance. I'm going to talk about text at the end of the video and some of the side deck options and stuff. But Trance seems to be the most consistent tech that I've used. You can use others, but he brings back your banished stuff to your hand when he's destroyed. Becomes a deck type target when he discards fiends, gets attack. Makes great plays with Beiige for level 4s because he discards a fiend. So you play Trance, Trance discards Beiige, Beiige specs, 2 level 4s, overlay, get like Utopia, something else. I'm just using Utopia as a common example. But yeah, Trance is great. So I would recommend Trance maybe. He's a little bit slower than some of the other ones, maybe. Just depends. And then to finish off the monsters, 2 tour guides, because tour guide can search tour guide searches Broww. Lets you go into those level 3 XYZs really, really quickly. This is also really good if Grapha's already in your graveyard, because you can spec Grapha from the grave by returning a Darkworld on your side of the field to the hand. Tour guide is not a Darkworld, but he can search Broww, which is, oh, no, Broww, there he is. Broww, which is a Darkworld. So you play tour guide searches Broww, Broww bounces to your hand, get your Grapha back. So yeah, that finishes off the monsters, and now I'll go into spells. Alright, here we are with spells. And again, you're gonna have to run 3 of a lot of these. Gates of the Darkworld, your field spell, part of your draw engine, lots of discard power. It's like the best field spell ever. Dealings. Some people don't like dealings, specifically for mirror match, but you can get around using it a lot. But most of the time, you just run 3 of it. No big deal. Drag down in the grave. This does help in mirror match a lot. You get rid of their spells and stuff, things they need to discard, or you discard their text and stuff so they can't do stuff later. Or their effect veilers, whatever they got, that would stop your plays or benefit them without discarding their Darkworlds. And you can normally set up your hand almost every single time so that you force your opponent to discard one of your Darkworld cards. Or if you don't have any, you can just use this to mill cards from your hand to draw into new ones. Alright, these are staples for the deck. These are staples for any deck in general, I think. Darkworld, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm. Some people would consider MSTA one, but I don't technically consider it a staple, but it's amazing. So I'm running it at least 1. You could side out some cards for multiples, but I think 1 is enough, considering you're destroying stuff with Grapha. You got Mystical Space Typhoon, and you got Heavy. So the backfield isn't too big of a deal. It does hurt this deck though a bit, so if you want to side in more, go ahead and do it. Card destruction, staple in this deck, definitely want it. It just discards, and you set up your hand with some Dark Worlds, you card destruction, get a huge plus off of it. You probably get rid of all the cool stuff your opponent had in their hand, unless it's mirror match. Bad card destruction. I made that mistake once, and it was bad. I didn't know they were running Dark World at the time. I drew it first turn, was like, oh, hell yeah, card destruction first turn, I can probably OTK this guy. Nope. I ended up losing that because I played card destruction. But otherwise, this is an amazing card. Discard your Dark Worlds, get a huge plus, and then you draw into brand new cards, continue your combos. Ridiculous. You can OTK with card destruction. It's just awesome. Foolish Burial. Some people don't like it. They say it's an inherent -1. I say it's a huge plus, especially first turn, because you get your Grapha in your graveyard, go into your play, and get your Grapha practically instantly. So, Foolish Burial, great card. You always want to use this for a Grapha, though. You probably don't want to use it for anything else. This isn't like Chaos or anything, or you need like a certain light or dark in your graveyard. There's no point in putting anything else in your graveyard, really. Unless you have Monster Reborn. I have done this once. I Foolish Burial and basically used this as a searcher because I was going to reborn a Dark World and then bounce that one I summoned to my hand. And I got like a Snoww or a Broww or something with Foolish. So if you have a reborn and a Foolish, you can use this as a searcher and add it to your hand, and spec a Broww. Gosh, Grapha. God, I'm stupid. And to finish off the spells, 2 Upstart Goblins. Upstart Goblin is good, makes it a 38 card deck, but if you do want to run other things, these are the first 2 things I normally get rid of when I side in other things. Like if I want to side in more MST, for example, I take one of these out, or 2 of these out, side in other things. Because they're not necessary, and you're not too worried about the life point gain for your opponent, because, let's face it, Grapha is just going to tear their life points up. So, that's it for spells, and let's move on to traps. Alright, traps is pretty simple. There's not a whole lot in this deck. Traps are mostly preventative and stuff. In this, there's not a whole lot of stuff. Most of your discard and draw power spells. Alright, so Starlight Road. It's just ridiculous. You have nothing. You set a bunch of spell and traps. Your opponent heavies. You get freaking Stardust for it. And it's really cool when your opponent runs into this and you're just like, yay, free Stardust. And completely negate their effect. Great card. Kind of a staple. These 2 are kind of staple. Warning, which is limited now, unfortunately. Because I used to run it at 2, which is why I went out and got a Judgment, which I probably should have anyway. But yeah, so Solemn and a Judgment, kind of staple. A single Bottomless right now. You can run it at 2. Again, take out those Upstarts. Pretty simple. Add more. Add another one of these. Add another MST if you want. Bottomless is great, but I've never needed more than one. Grapha, Dark Hole, Heavy, those kind of things just kind of clear your opponent's field pretty quickly. Deck Dev, because you can bounce Grapha back from the graveyard so easily, and with the field spell, Snoww is a deck dev target, and Trance is deck dev target when he discards. Deck Devastation Virus is amazing, especially against really small decks like Fire Fists and stuff. Have some really weak cards in them that you can get rid of really easily. So yeah, Deck Devs works. Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, the one that gets rid of spell and traps, is also really good in this deck. I'm just not using it in this build. And then I recommend 2 Torrential Tributes. You could run other things. You could run Mirror Forces, anything else that destroys cards. I prefer stopping them from summoning, because you stop the summon completely. Don't let them get their stuff on the field. Then you don't even have to worry about them attacking. You're not worried about losing your Graphas again, because you'll just get those back. And I think it's more consistent than compulsory evacuation device. Just because some things can't be compulsed, like cyber dragons can't be compulsed. Anything that specs itself from the hand or has an effect that does that can't be compulsed. Destroying things just seems to be easier. And you don't let them go into plays with the stuff you bounce to their hand later. So yeah, Torrential, I think, in this deck at least, far better. And then 3 Reckless Greed. I was really worried this was going to slow down the deck, but it really doesn't, because you don't draw into it a whole lot, but when you do, it's a huge plus. You set it, or set multiple in one turn, really cool, because you draw 2 cards, skip your next 2 draw phases, but if you play multiple of it in the same turn, you only skip 2 draw phases, you draw 4 to 6 cards, depending on how many you have. Well, I should say 4 or 6. But yeah, amazing. When you can go into plays with Reckless, and it really continues your plays. Like if you already have it set and you just need another discard outlet, say you have a Beiige and you have another Grapha in your graveyard and you've already normal summoned it, you're out of discard outlets. Sorry. Yeah, just Reckless Greed, keep your plays going. Really awesome. Alright, I'm going to move on to the extra deck now. Alright, I'm going to quickly go into the extra deck real quick. So, Heretic Sun Dragon, Overlord, Heliopolis Dragon, whatever you want to call it. 3000 beater, tributes your cards, destroys equal number of cards on the field, clears the field. Another reason MST multiples aren't needed in the deck, as well as other things. He's great, making with 2 Grapha. Graphas can get spec'd back really easily, which is why you can get 2 of them in the extra deck, because you can just make another one pretty easily, like within 1 or 2 turns of bringing up the original. Sorry, I'm recovering from being sick. Adrius, he's mostly in here because if you run gold or silver, he's your main go-to. You can also run Tyrus, but I don't think Tyrus is as good. And Adrius is a fiend, so if you're going to run gold and silver, run Adrius. Steel Swarm Roach, Fiend, 1900, with the field spell, he's a deck-dev target, stops your opponent from playing their Gorses and Trigodias, stuff like that, which is pretty awesome, because I know a lot of people that play cards like that, at least in my area. So yeah, gosh, it's not focusing very well. I kind of wish you could see that stuff, but you could probably see that Steel Swarm Roach. So yeah, he's pretty good. Photon Polyproperative, great against any deck that plays Defense Editions stuff. When I'm playing, like, without my tuners and stuff, I can't go to Red Dragon Archfiend. He works well enough, most of the time. Sorry again. I really wish they'd called this Photon Butterfly Assassin, but, you know, can't win them all. So yeah, I was really surprised when people started using this, because it had been around for a while and got pretty popular. So yeah, pretty awesome card. Utopia, need I say more? Super generic now. Almost every deck in the world that I have ever seen will run a Utopia in the extra deck if they have not rank level 4s, which almost everybody does, surprisingly. Who knew? But yeah, this is so easy to get, you know. You just complain to Konami because we need more reprints of Utopia. Like, we desperately need more. Like, we don't already have enough. Giga Brilliant. Giga Brilliant works the same as Leviathan, really. Just depends the situation you're in. I mostly, and me and a bunch of other people that play Dark World mostly use these to detach the turn they're played to get darks, or fiends, I mean, in the graveyard for the field spell to work. And yeah, Giga Brilliant's better for when you already have your stuff on the field. Give attack boost to everything. Leviathan's great if he's by himself. So yeah, I have 2 Leviathan because sometimes I go into 2 Leviathan with the tour guides. But Giga Brilliant, has his moments quite a bit. Has to go gigantic beater. Need I say more? This has won me games. Just because he's a tank. Zenman's, again, kind of generic at this point. Opponent will think twice about trying to destroy him. Levier brings back all your banished crap. So he's great, especially because you're milling stuff with the field spell. Well, I guess milling would be putting the cards from your deck to your graveyard. But whatever, I mean, you kind of get the idea. You're banishing stuff. So he kind of pays for himself too. Keep him alive for 2 turns. He'll bring back maybe 2 rank 3s. I mean, 2 level 3s, 2 level 4s, something like that. Then you can go into another XOZ maybe. Brings back stuff to bounce for Grapha. Just lets you continuously recycle. He recycles. He's green. He's going green. As far as synchros, you don't get to use these as much unless you're running Fabled Raven as your tech, because Fabled Raven's a tuner. You can run other tuners, but Fabled Raven is by far the best. I'm going to talk about him later in the tech section. At least for this deck. Stardust, Starlight Road. Need I say more? You're going to want him. Otherwise, the Starlight Road is kind of dumb. Scrap Dragon. Another rank 8. Great card. Like, if you already know you're saving Stardust, Starlight Road, Red Dragon Archfiend, he's good. Sometimes he doesn't fit in the situation. Scrap Dragon can be better. I really do want a Black Rose Dragon and like an Ancient Fairy and like all those other dragons. But yeah, you know, can't win them all. And Dark Highlander, I guess he's a little bit harder, maybe a little easier. Just depends on the situation to get out. Fabled Raven stops your opponent from secret summoning, stops equip cards, stuff like that. Stops your opponent from bringing out that pesky and Naturia beast that I hate. It stops all my spells. But yeah, he's great. He's 100 stronger than Grapha. Alright, so first I'm going to go into other monsters you can play in this deck. Multiple Beiges is a common thing. I don't see any Dark World decks play 3 usually, but some do go up to 2. 3 is just too much, but Beige is good, but 1 seems to work fine enough for me. So I don't run 2, but I have another one. Gold and Silva, they're good. They're not as fast or as consistent, just because if you have them in their hand, you can't discard them. They kind of sit there. They'll need a tribute otherwise, and they'll just sit there and be annoying. And can give you dud hand, which you really don't want in this deck. Tragodia and Gores. I have to find my Gores. I don't know where it is. Just help you when you're got nothing else and your opponent's attacking. Great for siding in a tournament, game 2 or 3, when you're trying to play it safe. And Doom Cows, effect failures on the field, basically. They're pretty awesome. Become a deck div target again. The field spell, rank 4s. Level 4s go into rank 4s later, if you want to XYZ. As far as other techs go, like besides Trance, if you took Trance out, you could put in one of these. Like Fabled Raven's a tuner, Dark Tinker's a tuner, things like that. If you were gonna, but I recommend Fabled Raven just because of his ability to discard. Fabled Raven will let you go into your synchros pretty easily, because he gains a level for each card he discards, and it's a once per turn effect, and you can do it to multiple Dark Worlds and stuff. He doesn't have any draw power though. It's the only drawback to him discarding, because he discards like every time I've played him, I've discarded like my whole hand, and then I can't draw into a lot of stuff. But Broww and Snoww together, search some awesome stuff. Morphine Jar is slower, but he's a really awesome card to have, especially if you let your opponent run into it, or if they do run into it, because you set him, your opponent flips him, and then it's like, ta-da, you just got Morphine Jar. So it's pretty awesome. Each opponent discards their whole hands and draw 5 cards. Yeah. So you discard all your Dark Worlds, and then draw 5 more cards to go into your plays later, you'll probably draw even more than that, because you'll probably have discarded Browws and stuff, and you'll get a search with Snows, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, and it'd be cooler if your opponent played this against you, because you flip their Morphing Jar, and they're like, haha, you got Morphing Jar, and you're like, joke's on you. I run Dark World. So yeah, it's also really hilarious when your opponent plays card destruction against you. I found that out playing a fusion deck. They were trying to get the cards they needed. Other like spells and stuff, and then I'll go into traps one more time as far as side deck. So Allure is great. Can be slow. If you don't have a card to banish, there goes your hand. So I set my cards in advance just in case I don't draw into the dark I need. And I have had to like banish Graphas and stuff with this before. So not good sometimes. Other MSTs, like I said before, you can run multiple. Dark World Lightning, destroy a face down on the field, and discard. So discard outlet acts as an MST, gets rid of set monsters, stuff like that. So that's good. It's kind of slow though, just because it doesn't draw. Dark Bribe, anti-spell and trap. More Bottomless. Like I said, take out those Upstarts, add more stuff. I've played multiple Bottomlesses, and people don't like it. They expect you to have one, they play another card, play another one. Compulse, like I said, less consistent with this deck. Great card nonetheless. You can put these in instead of the Torrentials, things like that, if you don't want to blow up your own stuff. So yeah. You can also run cards like Mirror Force. Mirror Force is great, or Magic Cylinder. If you just want to burn them for their life points, but I'd rather destroy the monster. Rivalry of Warlords and Goes and Match. There's a lot of decks that play a certain type of cards or a certain attribute. Like there's a lot of fire and water decks going around. There's a lot of warriors, and there's beasts, and there's beast warriors, stuff like that. These cards can hurt those decks. These cards can also hurt decks like Windups, I think. Goes and Match really hurts Windups. Rivalry is good against multiple types. Like Rivalry is better against Fire Kings, Haze Beasts, Fire Fists, stuff like that play like Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast. You play this and make it so they can only control one of those types. Goes and Matches better against Windups. As far as other traps, Dark Smog. Everyone's like, oh, it's so good. Yeah, not really. It's kind of slow. It's pretty cool. If you want to banish stuff, you could play like Dark Core as a spell. You don't need this continuously up. You can also play a Dark Core that on the turn you draw into it. It's a spell. You don't have to set it. Mind Crush, amazing. Unfortunately, I just find it too slow, because I want to make this deck as fast as possible, because that's what every other deck is doing right now. Unfortunately, I'd rather just sit back and be chill and, tribute some of them normal monsters. But no, nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to play these new cards with black instead of like the orange and yellow. So yeah, Mind Crushes, great cards. No draw power in them, so they're kind of slow. Work great with deck dev though, and drag downs. You view their hand, discard one of their cards, figure out what one of their cards is, you can Mind Crush it, or you can use it to discard. Unfortunately, if you haven't set your hand up for Mind Crush, you can get kind of trolled, because they can pick a different card other than a Dark World to discard, because it's random, so your opponent picks it. Return from the Different Dimension. Amazing kind of troll card. Pay half your life points. You can always play it. Bring back all your remove from play stuff. Go into XYZs with it. Synchros, whatever you want. Technically, they're not on the field anymore. And, yeah. pretty hilarious. My friend runs macro, Scott, so he was kind of upset when I got this. Speaking of stuff being removed from play, macro really hurts his deck. This is really helpful, but why have your stuff get banished at all? This slows down your field spell, but unfortunately there's going to be a lot of decks that want to banish your Graphas and stuff, so you can't win. So Imperial Iron Walls stop cards from being banished. I believe they just went up in price a bit after YCS in some places. So yeah, get them while you can. They were only printed in the Zombie World Structure Deck? Yeah, Structure Deck Zombies World. So yeah, stops your stuff from getting banished. Alright guys, so like I said, I hope you liked the video. This has been Dark Worlds. I will probably do other deck profiles in the future. I might be doing a deck profile on these guys. I'm sorry this looks weird. I put it in a top loader. It's the only top loader I had. It said rookie card on it. I don't even know why. Might have been used for a baseball card a long time ago. I don't even remember. But yeah, put him in a top loader just because he's expensive and I don't want him to get damaged as much as the others. I would put them all in top loaders, but I don't have top loaders for all of them. Oh yeah, other news. I found my Gars! Yeah, I'm so happy. So yeah, like I said, great sight-in. So yeah, this has been Dark World, and might do a deck profile on these guys. Probably going to do a deck profile on the Fire King Haze Beast, and probably another one on a Red Eyes Black Dragon deck if I get all the cards for it. So just tell me what you think. If you did like the video, go ahead and like the video, I guess. It's not a huge deal. I'm not monetized or anything. I don't get paid for doing any of this. It's just a little simple gesture. Shows me that you enjoyed it. Message me, send comments and stuff. I'll read them on questions and things. And yeah, that's it with me. And I'll see you guys later.